Yes, Your Honor. At this time, the defense calls Aubrey Brady to the stand. May I proceed?
Yes.
Please state your name, spelling the last for the court.
Aubrey Brady, B-R-A-D-Y.
And why are you here today, Mr. Brady?
I'm the consultant for Ruffed Grouse High School that audited their policies regarding performance-enhancing drugs.
Now, before we get into that, I'd like to discuss your qualifications. Can you tell the members of the jury about your educational background?
I received my master's in education from Georgetown University in 1996.
And what is your current occupation?
I'm currently an independent consultant in the field of sports management and athletic administration.
And before that?
I was at Devers Preparatory Academy for 13 years, where I served as the assistant principal in charge of athletics and discipline.
And in this case, which facts and data did you use while forming your conclusions?
As in all my cases, I spend a large amount of my time reading articles about performance-enhancing drugs. I especially make sure to review the World Anti-Doping Agency list of banned substances and other articles regarding them. I also use what I learned in my former education, and in this case, I made sure to read every witness affidavit and exhibits.
And did you apply reliable principles and methods to these facts and data in order to reach a conclusion to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty?
Yes, I reviewed the policies of high schools around the country and compared them to Ruffed Grouse's policies.
Your Honor, at this time, the defense enters Aubrey Brady as an expert in educational and athletic administration.
So admitted.
Now, Mr. Brady, are there any state laws in Pennsylvania that affect school policy regarding performance-enhancing drugs?
The state has set standards on the use of anabolic steroids and mandates education in schools.
So what can a school do to prevent the usage of these drugs?
One word, education. And that's exactly what the state requires. Every single person involved as a student athlete needs to also be involved in education regarding performance-enhancing drugs. The parents, the coaches, and most importantly, the students. A good education program is much better than a drug testing program.
But why isn't it more effective for schools to use a drug testing program?
Well, in addition to being cost prohibitive, it's just unreliable. EPO is difficult to catch. It's not even known that the current test could detect it.
Now, in regards to your education model, how well did Ruffed Grouse educate their coaches on performance-enhancing drugs?
Spectacularly. They offered annual workshops about performance-enhancing drugs.
And the parents?
They sent home pamphlets of information about performance-enhancing drugs with sections such as what parents can do, and they list the side effects of erythropoietin.
And how will the Ruffed Grouse educate their students on performance-enhancing drugs?
Tremendously. They did what schools do best. They incorporated performance-enhancing drug education into their required curriculum. They even sent home position statements to the student athletes.
And if a student were not to sign one of these forms, what should a school like Ruffed Grouse do in response?
They should see if they have it on file already, and if not, then they should have it signed. However, it's already on file for Ruffed Grouse.
And Mr. Brady, in your expert opinion, did Ruffed Grouse act reasonably when it came to preventing performance-enhancing drug use?
Ruffed Grouse went the extra mile. The state doesn't require the coaches to be offered annual workshops to learn about performance-enhancing drugs, nor do they require the parents to be sent home pamphlets with information about it. They don't even require the students to be sent home position statements. Yet, Ruffed Grouse makes it their standard practice. They have a better approach to performance-enhancing drugs than the state.
Thank you, Mr. Brady. No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Cross-examine.
Yes, Your Honor. So, Mr. Brady, you, in order to come to your expert opinion, reviewed all of the witness statements that have been used today, correct?
Yes, all the affidavits and all the exhibits.
So you're aware that people are blaming Terry Swift for pushing Jordan Simon too hard, to needing to use performance-enhancing drugs.
People are, but I don't believe that's true.
But you'd know all about this because you were actually sued for pushing a student too hard before them needing psychotherapy.
Objection, Your Honor. Pursuant to Rule 608, this extrinsic evidence cannot be used to prove the truthfulness of this witness. And furthermore, pursuant to Rule 403, this evidence is more prejudicial than probative.
Your Honor, this is going directly to prove the witness's bias, which is always relevant in these cases.
Or may I be heard?
Yes.
This case that opposing counsel is referring to is a harassment case, not a negligence case. Therefore, it's not relevant at all and is excluded under Rule 403.
Your Honor, if I will, it just showed that Terry Swift is being blamed for pushing a student too hard to them needing performance-enhancing drugs, and he's blamed for pushing a student too hard for them needing psychotherapy. The similarities are obvious.
The objection is sustained. Please move on.
So, Mr. Brady, you were the athletic director at Devers Preparatory School, correct?
Yes, as long as the assistant principal are in charge of athletics and discipline and the head coach of the soccer team.
And Jamie Hager was the athletic director at Rough Grouse High School, correct?
Yes, he still is.
And you're aware that Jordan Simon never signed the performance-enhancing drug position statement her final year, correct?
No, but she did have it signed the 2 previous years with all the same information and the same policy, so she was fully aware of it.
If you were in her situation, would you have gone after Jordan Simon's performance-enhancing drug form? Would you have gotten it signed that 3rd year?
Yes, but it was just an oversight on Russ Grouse's part.
So they had an oversight that led to someone's death, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. This is confusing the issue pursuant to Rule 403.
Your Honor, you just said there was an oversight, and this oversight would have not, had it been corrected, would have allowed Jordan Simon to not participate in the track season.
Overruled. The witness can answer.
So
Yes.
this oversight caused Jordan Simon's death.
Not the oversight.
But what you just said was the oversight caused her death.
No, just not handing in a form isn't going to cause her death.
But
It was the EPO.
Had you been athletic director, you would have gotten that form signed, and Jordan Simon would have never run the year she died.
If she had it signed, then she would have ran.
Back to my question. So if you were athletic director, Jordan Simon would not have run the year which she died.
If I was athletic director, then no. However, it was just an oversight. Not having a paper is not going to lead to a child's death.
So do you believe that Rough Grouse did everything right in their case?
No, no one's perfect, but they did the best that they could in their education and the prevention of performance-enhancing drugs.
But your belief in what they did right was that they didn't have a drug testing program, and you support this, correct?
Yes, a drug testing program, as I said earlier, is just unreliable. EPO is difficult to catch.
And even though it's unreliable, you believe that it can have a strong deterrent effect.
Yes, it can have a strong deterrent effect, but so can education, just like Russ Grouse's policies.
And this strong deterrent effect is obvious because other schools around the country, as you believe, showed the same result when they instituted drug testing policy.
Yes, but the plural of anecdote is not data. Russ Grouse has the same deterrent effect with their education
And
program.
even though you believe it's anecdotal, it was repeated in several schools around the entire country.
In 4 schools, yes.
So is your statement today that you did not say this is consistent with schools around the country?
It is around the country, but only a few schools.
And Rough Grouse just had an honor pledge, correct?
Yes, they do.
And is that a scientific drug test?
No,
And you believe that an honor pledge only helps a scientific drug testing program?
excuse me?
You believe that an honor pledge helps.
An honor code can help, yes.
And so Rough Grouse wasn't deterring drug use because they didn't have a drug program. They only had the honor pledge. In fact, as you believe, they were encouraging drug use.
They were deterring drug use with their education.
But you believe that some of the things that Terry Swift said could be interpreted as making the people believe the students believe they should take performance-enhancing drugs.
He might have said some of the things, but I have no reason to think that's so.
But in your signed and sworn affidavit, you said they could be interpreted as making the students believe they should take performance-enhancing drugs.
If the statements were made by Coach Swift, then yes, but I have no reason to think that Coach Swift made those statements.
But you believe that it could be interpreted as such.
It could be.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Will there be redirect?
No redirect, Your Honor.
You are excused. Please